Hi guys, welcome back to Bowman's Friends. My name is Cassidy, and today I am joined by two very special guests from CARE's first generation. All right, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to get started just with like some intro questions. So the first question we have is pretty simple. It's just, could you introduce yourself and share your role within CARE's first generation?
Awesome. Here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Mesa Los Santos, and I am a program advisor in the CARES First Generation office, and I also specifically lead the First Generation Living Learning community that is housed in Sheldon.
Nice.
Hey, everyone. I'm Dr. Kayla. I'm the Associate Director at CARES First Generation, and I oversee our First Generation initiatives currently.
Nice. My second question is, can you explain for listeners who may not know what CARE's first generation is, just what it means to be a first generation college student and what CARES is itself?
Yeah, it's like two questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two questions.
Okay. So what is CARES? I'll do the CARES and you do the first generation.
Yeah.
Okay. So CARES First is an academic support service on campus. So think about like an additional layer of support that students might need, right? And so as Alexis mentioned, we do program advising. So it's a little bit different than academic advising where you go in, you do your 4-year trajectory and your courses. We really dig into like what's happening in your experience here as a student so that we're able to support you. And through that, we also have other academic services like learning labs and making sure you're connected to academic resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as far as like what it means to be a first generation student, at least by definition, the university defines it as any student whose parent or step parent does not have a 4-year college degree. So that's kind of what we go by to kind of like students self-identify in their process of admissions, you know, like whenever they're coming in and they select first gen. And then they kind of just get connected to our office and our services.
So at UK, even if like someone's parents went to college like maybe 3 out of the 4 years, they would still be considered a first generation? Okay,
Yes.
nice. That's good to know.
Yeah,
I didn't know
if,
that.
Or like if they have like a community college degree,
Right.
Yeah.
like they
Oh,
would still
really?
be considered.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
a full 4-year bachelor's.
So anything less than a bachelor's is okay. Nice. Yes. Next, we're gonna get into experience and impact. The first question I have are: what are some common challenges you see first generation students facing as they transition into college life?
Yeah. Well, I can speak on my experience. I myself am a first generation student or graduate, and some of the common challenges we see is that not that first generation students lack anything. Like we come with a lot of like resources and like skills and abilities already, but it's sometimes like just not knowing general things, like even just the lingo of college or even just knowing like where to start. So it's just like navigating like who do I even go to, or like is this even like, you know, related to my academics. We know that, you know, students may have financial need, may have, you know, college literacy, like just in general, may or may not have that, you know, family support to go to college, because a lot of our students are low income sometimes, and so they may, you know, their families might want them to go to the workforce instead of going to school. So having to challenge those, you know, conversations. Any others you want to mention?
No, I was going to say, like, what you described sounds like what we call, like, the hidden curriculum of college. Like, those things we may take for granted that we know because someone else did it before us. And so we try to fill in those gaps, right?
Basically,
like,
yeah.
like, making you feel at home here by, like, showing you what those things are.
There are definitely a lot of things like when you get to college that like aren't like courses that like, you know, getting a dorm and like setting up all those kind of things are definitely very important.
Yeah, for sure. All those little like extra things outside of the classroom that you're going to experience, like those are the things a lot of the times that we're having conversations with students about. So like how do I even, you know, talk to my advisor about, you know, my workload and like having to, you know, balance out going full-time and then working full-time, or like having to take care of siblings and like all this stuff. And it's just, you know, we try to like navigate those conversations from a first-hand experience too, and like also just like, you know, research-based and all these things, like knowing how to like talk to first-generation students through that lens.
Perfect. Next I have, how does CARES work to address those challenges and help students feel connected on campus? Like, how do you make them feel like there's a community and there's people supporting them, even if they feel like they are brought with that, like, hidden curriculum? Like, how do they feel there are people who are going through the same thing as them?
Yeah.
You want me to kick it off?
Yeah, kick it off.
Sure. So I love that question. I think as advisors, what we really want to do, again, is like make sure you have a space here. Like, if we are your people, are you finding your people? And so some of the intentional things we do, and Alexis can get more into like the live and learning community for first gen students. We also have a first gen student org, which is totally focused on like the first gen experience and making sure students have other people that they can hang out with that are sharing those experiences. And as far as an office, we operate through a first gen lens, meaning when we sit down and talk with students, we're operating from the fact that, not that we're assuming that they're first gen, but we know what works for first gen works for everyone. And so in our program advising, that's why we really dig into like what is happening in the student's experience to make sure that we're filling the gaps of whatever there may be that they're like experiencing here.
Yeah, with the first generation living learning community, it's a residential experience. So for those students that are incoming, they get to build community from the very first, day they get here. When they're moving in, they get to connect with our office and like peer mentors who are also other first generation students who are also kind of like doing the thing, that can guide and mentor our incoming students. So from the very beginning, they get connected to our academic services, our advisors, and also, too, with the LLC, we do a lot of just programming in the hall as well as other spaces on campus. So we really, try to build a community in that sense and and make them feel like, like you are all part of something. At least you all share, being first gen, but then it's like bring in everything else that you are too.
Yeah.
And so we want to highlight all the things that first generation students bring in. Especially with our first generation week, which is coming up. So we can talk about that too.
Yes, of course. Do you guys want to talk about that now? I saw on your website, like that's coming up. You can go ahead.
Yes, shout out to the
excited.
first gen week. Yes. So we're super excited because we want people to know, or particularly our first gen students and families to know that we are one office, but the whole institution really celebrates and advocates for our first gen students. Okay, and so next week, the 3rd through the 7th, will be First Generation Week here. November 8th is actually National First Gen Day, but we celebrated the whole week, all right?
Yes.
And so from Monday to Friday, we will have different events that focus on like different intersectional experiences of a first gen student, right? So we'll have Singo, which is our singing bingo. We'll have how to get in grad school. We'll have how do I choose a major. We'll have something with our VIP center. And so you see almost, I think, 10 different campus partners who have signed up this year to really help us elevate this work. Of course, we do a lot in the space, but we couldn't do it without our campus partners. And so we're super excited. There's no need to sign up for any of the events. They're all listed on BB Involved. And we just want people to come and hang out. It's really about creating community, knowing that you have the support, and just knowing that we're here.
And do you guys do this every year?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah, every year.
Do you guys have like a favorite moment from the week or just like overall with CARE's First Generation that has like really stuck with you or that would be like inspiring?
I mean, I definitely like the vibe of kickoff because it just gets everybody excited and just kind of like we're all, all of our staff and all of our campus partners come out and just kind of like kick off the day, right? We also have our Tri Alpha induction for students who are in the Honor Society. For this year, I'm really looking forward to our Singo Bingo because bingo is like a big thing for our office.
Yes, we love bingo.
It's a tradition type of thing, but we're doing it a little bit different this year.
Fun.
So we're excited for that. But I think just in general, just like make the whole week, I think it's just high vibes, like really good, positive vibes of just like. Everybody's excited, like we celebrate and, being first generation, working with first generation students. So whether you are or not first gen, like it's a week for everybody. Because we all work with first gen students. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, to your point, too, like, I feel like my favorite experiences are when our students come up and tell us what their first gen stories are. And that's the theme, right? Is telling our stories. And so you meet the student from West Virginia who's like, well, the river runs through my backyard. So I'm right on the border of Kentucky and West Virginia. Or you meet a first gen student from Chicago who wants to talk about, like, how better their food is than what they get here, right? But you get to hear all of these different experiences and then create like a really cool environment with them, and in hopes to keep connection with them also.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so nice that you guys have like stories and stuff and I'm sure the students also like take away a lot from the week and like walk away with so much more
Yeah.
and like that's so nice. So now I'm going to move into like resources and
Okay.
opportunities. The first question there, what are some key resources or programs CARES offers that you wish more students knew about? And you guys kind of already answered this, but CARES is a resource that's open to all students. Yes.
Yeah.
So what are some like key resources or programs you wish first generation students and other students would know about?
Yeah. Well, our program advising, I mean, all of our advisors are always available to, talk to anybody. We have drop-in hours, we have like set scheduled hours, but really it's like knowing that our advisors are there to kind of like bring in that additional support. Again, we're a little bit different than academic advisors, but we all work as a team. So even, if you have a question with your academic advisor or trying to connect, like we can make that connection or, help you navigate a conversation. So program advising like really encompasses like everything too. Like we work with all sorts of campus partners. And have all different types of conversations. So knowing that like our advisors are open to help you navigate and connect you with other resources, like is a huge thing.
Yes.
I would say too, our academic resources, I mean, our learning labs, again, are, an amazing way to, get connected to resources, to like learn more about like, well, how do I like improve my study skills? Like join a learning lab and just kind of think of it in a different way. Or like, how do I do better time management? So, learning labs have different topics throughout the week that we kind of touch on, that you're not necessarily like learning about in the classroom, but you're applying it in the classroom.
Yes.
And then too, like I would say our study hours too are also like a big thing. It helps students kind of like keep focused, keep organized, and they really enjoy just having that like focused downtime for them to just kind of be like, okay, I know from this time to this time I'm doing my study hour, and it helps them kind of like learn time management too and study skills. So I would say some of those are, the highlights.
Spot on.
And we do some fun programming too with the Living Learning community.
Yes.
All of our LOC events are open, whether you are or not part of
I didn't know
the
that.
residential experience. Like even if you're not in the LOC, like you can always come to all of our events. And so, if you follow us on Instagram, you
Follow
can know.
them on Instagram.
Yes,
Please.
you
Get our
can
followers.
see what events we have coming up with the LOC. And we have like different things from like themed. We love a good theme. But like, the peer mentors put on some really fun events throughout the semester. So yeah, everybody's welcome to come to any of the events.
What is your guys' Instagram? Is it just
It's UK Cares,
UK Cares
first.
First.
Yes.
UK Cares First?
At
Yes.
UK Cares First,
Please.
all together.
Follow them.
Please, we just
Follow
made a
us.
new Instagram this semester, so we need more followers.
Follow
Yes.
them and check. I didn't know that like anybody can come to
Yeah.
LLC events.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
nice. That's good to know, especially for like people on campus more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For
Go
sure.
do some fun stuff. Well, my next question is, how do initiatives like the William C. Parker Scholarship support and overlap with first-gen programming?
That's a great question. Can I turn it a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
So what we do with our what we call them commitments.
Yes.
For our current Parker scholars, where they have to meet with us and they have to do academic and social engagement. And really what it is just we want to set you up to know what the resources are, how to connect, how to talk to a professor, how to write like all of these things, right? And so some of our scholars are kind of like, I have to do all of these things. But what we also see is that when our students commit to doing those study hours and meeting with us, they have a 0.7 higher GPA than others, right? So we know that it works. So yes, our Parker scholars are our current sort of target, but that could be any student who just opts into what we have going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to turn it so see like, you don't have to have the scholarship to come see us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
0.7 is a lot.
Yes,
That
it
is a
is.
lot.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
definitely is.
That's
a
And
lot.
it makes a difference too.
Yes.
It does.
That
Yeah.
definitely does.
Yeah.
Well, my next question is kind of a long one, but
Okay.
UK recently launched the Explore First program, which gives first-generation students the chance to study abroad in London and Dublin. Almost combined those two words. How do you think opportunities like this impact a student's sense of belonging, confidence, and a vision for like what's possible after college? You know.
Ooh.
That's it.
That's a
That's
good
one.
question. Yeah. Well, and you can talk a little bit more in depth
Go
if you
ahead,
want
yeah,
to,
go ahead.
but I've had the opportunity to participate in the Explore First program as a faculty
Nice.
representative, for both last summer and this past summer
I bet that was
in
really
London.
fun.
Oh, it was a blast. It was definitely a blast. And from day one that the students get accepted into the program, you can see, well, even, application process, you can see the excitement in their, applications and everything. But, like, you can see that growth because once they're accepted, they do have time to go into, like, clusters, that's what we call them, to start to get to know about, like, all the in-depth, details of, like, your flight, like, what to expect, what to pack, like, here's, itinerary, here's some things that we're going to be doing in class. So, like, we touch on A to Z and more to prep them because we have a lot of students that may or may not have, even stepped foot on an airport before.
Yeah.
So it might be their first flight. It might be, the first time leaving the country. It might be leaving the state. Like, many different backgrounds. And so we try to, like with Explore First, bring that opportunity to students to, like, really expand their thinking, not just, the study abroad experience, but how far they can go, really. And if you can make it over here, like, please, like, think about how much more you can do. And so I think, like, opening up their minds to, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yes.
Like, they get so excited to come back to campus and, like, maybe do another a study abroad program or, like, even we have quite a few that are now student leaders in CARE's first office because we just, they just love us. We love them. They loved us. And so, we make really good connections. And so I think that really is, the cool thing is, like, it doesn't end when the program ends. It just kind of keeps going. So, I mean, yeah.
Again, like, I feel
else.
like you said all the good stuff. Yeah. I will say
Yeah.
the application is open.
Applications
Till
open.
2026. Yes. So please. We're
Yes.
encouraging our first gen students, and there will be 3 sessions this year. They
nice.
range from May to, I believe, like early July, but more so June. But Miss Alexis hit all the, like, great points, and I would say, like, we know this trip is literally not trip. Sorry, that's like a bad term in education abroad. Not a trip.
Education abroad.
And this education abroad
program.
experience is life changing for our
Yes.
students. Like
Yes.
like Alexis said, like, being able to see them that first day at the airport and who they are 3 weeks later, they're completely different
different.
people, right? They have a new confidence, a new purpose. You can't tell them anything, but, like, in a good way, and then we see them come back and do some awesome things. So it's just great to be a part of that experience with them.
I've had a lot of friends who go abroad, and it just seems like magical.
Yes.
I actually had a friend go to Dublin, so I wonder if it was
explicit.
this.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was. She loved it. She had a
Won't be
time.
quiet about it. Yeah.
I was very jealous. But that sounds so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Next is kind of more on, like, belonging and growth. My first question is, like, how does CARES build a sense of belonging among first-generation students, staff, faculty, and also just other students? You guys have kind of touched on this, but is there, like, anything that you've really picked up on, like, seeing students, like, when they first come to college and then when they leave, and how, like, their confidence or, like, the way they move about campus has changed?
Yeah, I love that question. I think that I love what we do because we get to work with a lot of different populations and how to support first gen, because creating belonging is not just in our space, right? It has to happen in the classroom. It has to happen in, like, different areas that they're in. And I would say to that, this is exactly, but we created, like, a faculty program this year where we really got to talk to or speak to our faculty on a 5-week session about, like, how to really support these first gen students, what jargon you should be using, how do you connecting them to resources, here's some things that you might change, right? And so even telling a professor, like, maybe getting to know the students' names if you can, or knowing something about them, right? Like, that creates a sense of belonging because then the student feels connected to you. And so it's more so, I would say, from my standpoint, really advocating for first gen, whether it's through our faculty, whether it's through our staff, and really showing people how to support them. That's where the magic in belonging is.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And again, it's whether you are first gen or not, as a staff or faculty, like, we're gonna work with first generation students, at some point.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're not in. I would say, like, they're not any, like, different. It's not like you can just like identify that's a first gen student, but it's like, as you get to know them, like, and, like, you can see, like, okay, like, here are some, like, additional support that we can get you connected to, but, like, oh my God, like, you're also bringing in so much to the table. Like, how can we, support you, kind of, like, fully launch you into, like, what you're capable of. And so sometimes, some of first gen students may be a little bit more shy, or
Yeah.
like they may just be like, I just don't know how to talk about this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, like go for it. I think like we're like big cheerleaders for
Yeah.
our first generation students. And Kayla and I, we've been doing this, for a while
Yeah.
now. And, we come from first generation backgrounds too.
Yep.
Dr. Gill, she's first gen too.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
it's amazing for us to also be like, in a way, examples too of like, if we can do it, you can do it.
yeah.
For sure. Like, and trust, like, we're going to be right there cheering you on. So I think graduation is one of my favorite parts of, times of the year, because we really get to see them like, yes, like go out there and like, just go and live your life. Like, and so we really like to, hype up our students in everything. And we're very like, protective of
Yes, that's very true
like,
too. Yes,
we're like our first year students are just amazing. So
that is so awesome, and I'm sure I'm assuming a lot of first generation students come in feeling very different, even though they're not. Like, and having them overcome that and just be like, you are a student at the University of Kentucky, like everybody else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Build that confidence. I'm sure that's like very taken. Like the students take that with them. But my next question kind of goes into that. Like, how do you hope the programs at CARES that students go through, what do you think like they take with them as they graduate? How do you hope that they like continue to move through life with what they learned through CARES?
I love that. That's a good one.
All of them are good.
All of them are good. That's a good one.
Good
So
questions.
can I say more so from like an experience standpoint? So like she said, we've worked with first gen students for almost a decade.
Don't say
Oh,
how old
God.
they are.
Almost a decade now. And so being on this side, I have had students who graduated and went on to do amazing things, and they still come back to talk to me and ask me for advice, and to their weddings, and they have, you know what I'm saying? And so
lovely.
it's really about, like I'm teaching you how to, go to office hours and how to navigate maybe the professional world and procrastination skills, but these are skills that they take with them forever, right? And so some of those conversations that we have in program advising, they even, if you have to tell them get their life together a bit, they remember those, and they thank you for that years later, because someone had to tell them and, like support them, and they appreciate you being that person for them. And so I think what our magic is as program advisors, like Alexa said earlier, is that we have these special creative skills to create really great rapport and relationships with students, and those last for a long time. So that those skills that we're teaching them, they can use for a lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, apply those to the professional field too.
Yeah.
I mean, as a first gen professional,
Yes.
there's always gonna be like that, like, I'm the first in my family to like go on and do something like this, as a professional, like college graduate, like and beyond, like. And those can be scary times too. So that's why,
Yes.
like they do come back to us and be like, okay, like how do I talk to my boss about
Yes,
this? Or
yeah,
like, how do I like, navigate the situation now? And like, I mean, again, skills, like training, like skills that you're going to be able to like, use beyond, graduation. Like it definitely, and it feels, amazing to know like that you, not just as individuals, like, but like as a collective created that impact for the students, to then them wanting to give back to the community and like give back in any way that they can
Absolutely,
to other
yeah.
first gen students. So I think too, it's like, we love to see it,
We
that kind of
do.
keeps our work going.
It does.
Yeah.
It's not just 4 years, it's for life.
It's for life,
It
yeah.
really is.
That is so lovely.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, go on now.
Yeah.
Go on and live your life.
You
now.
got it.
You got
Yeah.
this.
You got it. All right, I just have two more questions that are
Absolutely,
kind of
okay.
about like reflection and advice. So my first one is, what advice would you give to incoming first generation students who might be nervous about starting college, what would you tell them before they come to the CARES office or go to their first class or move into their dorm?
I have some. There's this really. It's like a blessing and a curse of being a first gen, right? And it's that like you've always had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't know how to ask questions, right? And so what I would say to those who are nervous is that it's totally normal, because I think like a lot of students think like I'm the one that doesn't know, or this is an experience is just unique to me, and it's not, right? Like every student that comes to sit in my office, they're nervous, they don't know, like they need that certain help. So ask questions. That's what we're here for, right? But also be open to trying new things, right? These 4 years or 4 to 5 years, however, in college, you'll never get back. And it's an academic journey, but also a personal journey as well. So just be open to trying new things as well. Yeah.
I would say with that, like, basically don't be afraid to, like, fail, because you will.
Trust
me, like, you will make decisions that you're gonna be like, ooh, and they're gonna humble you a little bit, because, you know, sometimes you think you know everything, but, like, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so, you know, asking for help is probably, like, the biggest thing, and it's a hard thing to do. But I would say, like, definitely don't be afraid of just, like, you know, asking for help, reaching out, utilizing the resources, because everybody, you know, we all talk about, you know, use your resources, and until, you know, you actually need it, then you're like, oh wait, what was that thing that they told me about? So it's like, you know, there's a reason why we want you to know all of this stuff ahead of time, and from the very, you know, first semester, because we want you to, like, make sure that you have a good foundation, you know, so that you're not here the next, you know, however many years, like, struggling and, like, you know, like, not knowing where to go. And so that's why, you know, when you make that connection with our office from the get-go, and we, you know, try to do intentional outreach and stuff like that, like, we want to be there so that, you know, you have somebody, you know, to kind of be like, you know, it's like a trust fall, like, like, trust me, like, we got you. And so, but, you know, it's a process, you know, it takes students time to get there and, you know, realize, like, oh, I may not be able to do this on my own. And that's okay, you know, like, they'll get there, you know, eventually. And when they do, you know, when they do come to us, then we're like, okay, well, how can we help, you know? And we're always going to, you know, it's always, you know, like Kayla said, you know, we might have to, you know, have a hard conversation sometimes of, like, okay, well, what is it that, you know, you got to meet me halfway too, you know, and be realistic about stuff. But yeah, we're always happy to help and you know, kind of help you through it.
Yeah, I also think maybe to any first generation students who are watching, I'm not first generation, but, like, what you've said, and I had the same questions going into college, like, being afraid to ask something or not knowing something or having a moment where I was like, I should not have done that, or just failing and falling on my face. Like, everybody goes through that, and it's important to have your resources, not just first generation students. Like, everybody can take.
And at the end of the day, you know, like, even if you're not first generation, like, college right now is, like, a whole different thing, like for example, than when your parents went to college. And so, you know, even for our non-first gen students, like, we do advising as well, where it's just like, you know, like, you have some of the same questions because you're going through the same experience. And so, you know, we also touch base on, like, whether you are first gen or not, like, what we do works for any student. And so, you know, having those conversations with all types of students really, you know, help us also see, like, okay, well, maybe this is, like, an area we need to also, you know, touch on that we hadn't thought about. And so, you know, we learn from students just as much every day.
Yes, that's so lovely. And then my last question is, if you had to describe the first generation community at UK in 3 words, what would they be and why?
3 words.
Maybe just 1 word. Some words. In some words.
In some words. Ooh.
Oh, I got one, but I have more.
Okay,
my first one is resilient.
Yeah. That's a good word.
Truly resilient. Like, can't knock them down. Like, they'll get right back up and fighting even harder, right? Yeah. They have the grit of a lion. That's my first one. Resilience.
Yeah. I would say, like, I don't know.
I know
Ooh, that's tough.
In a way, too, they're kind of trendsetters because we use, like, not use, but we really pay attention to how this population moves so that we can make informed decisions on how to support everyone.
Yes.
So when we see, like, oh, there's a certain thing that okay, we need to change it over here too. So in some ways, trendsetters. In a way too,
fire starters.
Fire starters, yes.
Ooh, I mean, I just want to say, like, okay, resilient trendsetter. I would just say evolving.
Yes, evolving. That's a good one. Yeah.
Too. Like, I feel like and that's just with every incoming class.
Yes.
Like, I feel like students are always, like, changing, or, like, you know, like, my first gen experience, like, is totally different than like, you know, the students I'm serving now. And so it's just, like, ever changing, evolving as we go. And, like, we just learned how to, you know, I would say even too flexible. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, they kind of go along with the punches sometimes with us too. So, yeah. Okay, there's 4 words.
4 words.
You said 3, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure that there's a million to
there's a million. Yes.
Can't be wrapped up into 3. Well, those are all my questions. Do you guys have anything else you want to add? Anything you want to say?
No, just thank you.
Yeah,
for your
thank you.
time.
And I hope that you'll join us for
Join us
First
for
Gen
First Gen
Week.
Week.
Yes.
I might be there.
Yes,
It
please
sounds
join
fun.
us.
That bingo?
Yes, bingo. Yes,
Single
single bingo. Yes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
please, like, and just know, I always tell students, I try to harp on this fact, and I think we have throughout, it's sort of been interwoven into the conversation, is we are here for students. If you need something, just like a go-to person,
Just come.
please.
Yes.
Yes.
Connect.
Like, absolutely.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where is your office located?
Yes. McVeigh Hall.
Okay.
The main office is McVeigh Hall 104. But you can go in through like Grayson.
Yes, yeah.
It's a little
Engineering,
bit
yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
it's in the engineering kind of
Yeah.
side of campus. But yeah, McVeigh Hall 104. On that first floor, we're happy to, welcome you. Hang out. Popcorn Thursday.
Poppin' Thursdays.
Poppin' Thursdays, pop
love
in and get some popcorn.
Yes.
But really, yeah, just, come out to First Gen Week.
Yes.
Follow us on Instagram, UK Cares First, to keep up with all the events and all the things happening. So, and again, thank you.
Yes,
Well, thank you guys for
Yes.
being here. You guys are so lovely. It was so nice to talk to you guys.
You too.
Thank you. And make sure you guys, First Generation Week is November 3rd
Through the 7th. Yes,
Yes.
next week, yeah.
Make sure you guys go check it out and follow them on Instagram and do all the things. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys.
See ya.